The Amazon Lily arc, there was a huge amount of uncertainty going into this part of the story just after all the Straw Hats got separated by Kuma. Where were they all going to end up? How were they all going to react? And what was actually going to happen to them? And the answers surprised me.
After what happened at the end of the Sabaody arc, it feels like everything in One Piece has changed. A massive part about One Piece was the dynamic of the Straw Hats and them all being together. So them all being separated like this in all completely different parts of the earth is going to be very interesting to see how they all sort of deal with these situations and see where they end up. I'm actually very excited about it. I think it's going to be a really interesting change of pace. What I didn't expect was where Luffy ended up in this episode. On an island of exclusive Amazonian women that tried to pull his bollocks off because they don't know what a man is. That's just not something I saw coming, but there you go. Luffy teaching a bunch of Amazonian women about what balls are was not on my One Piece bingo card, but here we are. I definitely think when Sanji eventually learns about the fact that Luffy was here, he's going to be absolutely fuming that it wasn't him. It's probably a good thing though that Sanji didn't end up on this island because the women here already hate men. If Sanji arrived, I can't imagine. I think Sanji being there would only make their hatred grow even stronger. But beauty on this island is dictated by strength, and they all look up to this person called the Snake Princess, who ironically enough is called Boa Hancock, so she has a cock in her name, which I don't know, it's just funny to me. I'm intrigued to see where this deep hatred towards men comes from. I'm guessing it has something to do with this Snake Princess, but I don't know. Either way, Luffy's found himself in a very interesting situation, to say the least. I don't think I've ever disliked a villain as quickly as Boa Hancock, but I mean that in the absolute best way possible. The very first second that she's on screen, she kicks a kitten. Like, I mean, come on. If that's not a way to make you hate somebody immediately, I don't know what is. As far as I can tell, she's essentially like a sexy Medusa. Not only that, she's one of the 7 warlords of the sea, which is really exciting. Whenever we see one of these people, I'm buzzing. And I'm not gonna lie, she seems really fucking cool. She's the absolute definition of pretty privilege, basically by her own words. But she definitely has a very sinister vibe to her as well. And I love her perspective when it comes to the world government. She's almost using them just for her own gain, pretty much. I just think there's something very badass about that. Boa Hancock is an absolute demon, man. This pretty privilege thing just goes too far. I mean, not only in the last episode did she kick a kitten, but in this episode she threw an old lady out of a window. Like, she needs to be stopped. But something tells me there's just a lot more to her than it seems right now. By the way that she seemingly doesn't want to help the world government and that she doesn't want to expose her back to the village people in case she kills them. Her character definitely goes a lot deeper than what we've seen so far. Also, I don't know how Luffy ends up in these situations, but he's ended up in a bath with her, which, I mean, I didn't see coming. I don't know if Sanji will ever forgive Luffy after this. Can't lie, watching Luffy absolutely flatline that panther while a whole crowd was watching to see him get executed was just the most gangster thing in the world to me. Boa Hancock clearly has everybody on this island wrapped around her little finger, and probably anybody else that's ever encountered her. But Luffy is just the ultimate counter to her, it feels like. Luffy could not give a shit about beauty or any of that. After everything that's just happened to Luffy and his friends, I think him seeing Boa do that to somebody that's loyal to her has just pissed him off to a new level. You can tell the fact that Luffy doesn't give a fuck about her or looks really gets under Boa's skin. She's a definition of a narcissist, basically, is what it seems like. That is one of the biggest things I love about Luffy. You don't fuck around when it comes to loyalty or friends or none of that. So Luffy managed to use Haki for the first time in this episode. Haki has been a bit of a mystery so far throughout the show, but it's become a lot more prominent recently. And I was surprised during this fight because Luffy was sort of getting worked by these two snakes. And I think it's all to do with this Haki power, whatever it is. We saw Rayleigh use it too. And now seemingly out of nowhere, Luffy can use it as well. And I can only assume this is the evolution that Luffy needs in order to keep up with the new world. Because what we saw during the Sabaody arc and even this fight, Luffy is just not strong enough at the moment to compete with what's going on here. But I think Luffy learning about this Haki is going to be a complete game changer for him. This episode was just another example of why Luffy is one of the absolute best characters ever. Even though ever since he's got to Amazon Lily and he's been treated terribly, he's been hunted down and even nearly publicly executed by the Snake Princess and her sisters. Even though he's been through all of that, he'll still put that to the side to do what he believes is right. As we know, Boa Hancock and her sisters have something imprinted on their back that they don't want the public to see. And Boa seems absolutely mortified about it. When she even thinks about it, she starts crying. So whatever that is, it's clearly traumatic for her. But the fact that Luffy recognises that, and as soon as one of the sisters' back's exposed, he covers it for them. I mean, he's just the best. How Luffy can go from being the biggest badass in the room to being this sympathetic towards somebody's situation that they clearly care a lot about. Luffy is just absolutely goated, man. This was a very dark episode, and I could not have been more wrong about Boa Hancock and her sisters. I know they had this giant secret they were trying to keep hidden, but I couldn't have imagined it would have been this dark. These 3 being trafficked as children, being turned into slaves at the age of 12. The world government and the Celestial Dragon specifically just keep getting worse and worse. Everything Boa Hancock has been doing up to this point makes sense now. Why she hates men, why she hates the world government, why she's so closed off. When she was first introduced, I thought she was just like a tyrannical renegade, basically. But now I realise she's just truly a victim of the world government and the Celestial Dragons and the cruelty of this world. I really hope we get to see Boa Hancock and her sisters get some sort of revenge at some point. I'm very invested now. It was only a matter of time before this happened, but Luffy has now learned about the public execution of his brother Ace, and something very interesting has happened again. Luffy has once again found himself in a situation where people he loves and cares about are in a lot of trouble, but he can't do anything about it, and that seems to be quite a common theme at the moment. The same happened on the Sabaody arc. He saw his friends get eliminated, but now in this situation, his brother's literally going to die, and there's no way he can do anything. He'll have to compete with the Navy, he'll have to compete with the 7 warlords of the sea. That's just way too much for Luffy or anybody to handle, basically. But the thing I love about Luffy is he's gonna fucking try for sure. Maybe he'll end up linking up with the Whitebeard Pirates or something. That would be crazy. I was waiting for this penny to drop, and now that it finally has, I'm terrified for Luffy and for Ace. I have such a strong feeling right now that the world of One Piece is about to change forever. The world's strongest strongest are all heading towards the same place, all with different conflicts of interest. The incoming battle between the Whitebeard pirates and the world government, I think, is actually going to change the world forever. The stakes feel so high right now. It feels like at any second something crazy could happen, and I love it. And it's crazy to think that all of this is due to the defeat and the capture of one man in Port Gasti, Ace, who also just happens to be the grandson of Admiral Garp, which is something I completely forgot about, so that's a big conflict of interest too. But Garp does strike me as someone that would put his career before his family, do you know what I mean? This is one of the things that makes One Piece the greatest anime ever to me. After what happened with Kuma on the Sabaody archipelago, this is exactly what I wanted to see. I wanted to see where all the individual Straw Hats had gone, because I'm so invested in every single one of these characters. There is not one character of the Straw Hat Pirates that I don't love, so I'm just interested as where Nami has gone, as where Frankie has gone, as where Luffy has gone. I just want to know my people are doing it right, you know what I mean? But I think where everybody has landed is a little bit too convenient. It's almost as if Kuma knew exactly where he was sending them to, and he sent them there on purpose. Like sending Luffy to where Hancock is so he can get into Impel Down to save Ace or something. Then Nami's gone to a place to enhance her weather manipulation potentially, and Frankie's ended up on a futuristic island with Vagabond, the guy that made Kuma. Something strange is going on with Kuma, but I just can't prove it. I'm definitely starting to think that Kuma sent the Straw Hats to these individual places on purpose. Kuma has essentially sent Sanji to his version of hell, and part of me thinks it's to teach Sanji some sort of a lesson. I don't know what that lesson is yet, but I don't know. There are some very scary individuals on this island though, to say the least. But my poor baby boy Chopper as well, man, he's been screwed over as well. He's back to being on his own again and getting picked on by other bigger animals. Out of everybody, it feels like Chopper needs the Straw Hats the most. So maybe having to survive an island like this on his own is going to do him a lot of good, but still I just hate to see my boy in this situation. Robin to me has definitely ended up in the most interesting place out of all of the Straw Hats. I would absolutely watch an entire anime based on this concept alone. The way Aiichiro Oda manages to tell such engaging and interesting stories in such a short period of time is actually amazing to me. The little girl Sauron who saved Robin, dreaming of the outside world and even drawing pictures of it, but being forced to be a slave by the world government, I can only assume. I feel absolutely terrible for everybody in this country. I really hope we get to see more of this country and its characters, because I feel like this story has so much potential. Things are about to get real crazy in the world of One Piece, I can feel it. With the public execution of Ace coming real soon, it feels like the world is on a ticking time bomb. Something about seeing all these terrifyingly powerful characters all just sitting and standing next to each other just makes this feel so much more real. I mean, in the Navy we had Aokiji, we had Kizaru, we have Garp, we have the 7 Warlords of the Sea at the Mary Joyce, including Blackbeard, who is the one that put Ace in this position in the first place. And on top of all that, we have Whitebeard heading straight to the center of it, who's going to be on all of the smoke. It just feels like there's no choice but for everything to blow up. Everything just feels so fucking tense right now, and I love it. Don't get me wrong, I'm very worried about Ace, but I'm very intrigued to see how this all plays out. It's going to be crazy.
So yeah, that was my initial reaction and thoughts on that Amazon Lily arc. I think Boa Hancock was a fantastic addition to the world of One Piece. I very much misunderstood her character when she was first introduced. I mean, she did kick a cat as soon as she came on screen, but knowing her backstory with her and her sisters, it made a lot of sense, and the island sort of, you know, hating men made sense as well, because they all follow her and she had a horrible experience with them. But the fact that Luffy was the one man that was able to get through to her makes a lot of sense. He's just so likable and so genuinely lovable, and the fact he was the only one that really understood her, I thought was really sweet. And this was the first time Luffy found out about the public execution of Ace, which set off the craziest arcs in One Piece, I think, ever, at least that I've seen so far. Let me know what you guys think about the Amazon Lily arc in the comments, and next time we're going to Impel Down, which is when things started to get fucking serious. So thank you guys for watching, hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in a bit. Peace.